Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. That's a joke. I put you there. First order of business. I am wearing a cardigan sweater. What does that mean? It means I'm smart and I know what I'm talking about. Second order of business. Propaganda. What is it? I'm not Google. You're going to have to figure that out on your own. Third order of business. This is where I very roughly transition into the actual content of the video. So, without putting any real thought into it, I assume that the creation and circulation of propaganda would be a very technical procedure. I was imagining a big room with a big table. All around the table would be a bunch of dudes in lab coats. All over the table would be a myriad of whatever the plural form of apparatus is, apparati, I guess, scientific apparati all over the table, all with the purpose of piecing together the right keywords and sentence structures in order to influence someone's subconscious without them knowing it. That was my romanticized version of it. Turns out all you gotta do to get someone to believe and then act out something stupid is just bombard them with the same message over and over again, and eventually they just believe it. That's literally it. It helps, of course, if it's something scary, but it doesn't have to be. The message doesn't even have to be that complex or coherent. You just gotta keep saying it. I'm going to be using examples from the media in general, but you'll be able to see how these relate to propaganda. Now, any form of media you consume, there's always going to be messages embedded in it that are going to be influencing the way that you think. Most of the time, you're not going to be able to just look at someone and then see exactly which messages they are believing. But right now, you can because they're wearing it on their faces. And I want you to realize how easily people are being influenced. It took just a couple months of concentrated media hysteria to take what is basically the flu, except like the flu with those little sparkly emoji things around it, and then turn it into something that makes people believe that this is somehow a sane way of conducting yourself. It's not super hard to use fear and hysteria to get people to act in a certain way. Think about all the people who scream and cry that Trump and everyone who supports him is somehow a literal Nazi. When they're genuinely getting that emotional, that should tell you they're not pretending. They actually believe it. And all you had to do to get people to get in that state of mind was just spam a couple stupid political cartoons. And that's basically it. And even when you can't see the actual propaganda, which is often, you can infer it from the insane behavior. For example, there are people that just straight up listen to K-pop. Somehow, some way, the Korean government managed to MK Ultra all these girls into being obsessed with Korean guys with bowl cuts. What are their intentions? I don't know. We have to assume they're malicious. See, is thinking that Korean boy bands are somehow a secret ploy to take over the planet a schizophrenic take? I don't know. And that's actually the problem. Lesson number 1, always be on your toes. Anyone and at any time could be up to something. For example, why does the burger company put the pretty girl in the burger commercial? Because they want my stupid monkey brain to associate the pretty girl and that emotional response with the burger. Yeah, no thanks, siren. Stay vigilant and pay attention to the themes you see over and over again. For example, why is every media representation of a father always some dopey, useless idiot? I got some ideas, but I have a feeling I probably already sound crazy enough, so I'm going to keep them to myself. But watch the themes, watch the messages, and watch their consequences. What's the message? Coronavirus is an extremely dangerous disease that requires everyone to stay home and social distance. Let's go over the sequence of events. About 2 weeks after Thanksgiving last year, China announces the first case. 3 months after that, the disease is so widespread that basically every major country is shutting down. During the mass hysteria, the officials inform us that there's going to be an initial wave of the virus, and that will be more likely followed by a much larger wave in the fall. The fall, of course, comes, and now we have to prepare for the supposed second wave. A second wave of Rona, of course, means a reinstitution of the stay-at-home orders, which means large gatherings become illegal, which means that there's no family gatherings, which means there's no sweet potato pie. No sweet potato pie means no serotonin. And no serotonin means the lobsters get sad and they stop riding skateboards. And then everyone gets sad. So, always make sure that you are functioning as a mediator between your perceptions and your beliefs, to make sure that those perceptions don't just become your beliefs. Almost as if we were to represent those perceptions, those ideas, as particles in the air, and then breathing them in would be like accepting them as your own. You would want to make sure that there's some sort of mediator, maybe like a filter almost, that would allow you to make sure you only let the particles in that you want to let in. That filter, I guess, would be worn on your face, kind of like a mask. But you want to make sure that that filter actually works and that it's not just a massive cope that also makes you look like an idiot. All that it took was a couple months to get everyone to cope so much, but I can't get by without my sweet potato pie. So that was by far the dumbest video I've ever made, and I basically just wasted your time, but I very much appreciate that you wasted your time with me. Before you leave, I will have to say, I got this bookshelf at some point, and then I got one picture and put it in it, and then I just decided that was good. But I just basically realized that the rest of the bookshelf is very much empty, and I have no idea what to put in it. So, if you have any ideas, that'd be very much appreciated.